Not only did the Cowboys beat up the football team, but the football team beat up the football team. Turns out Washington does have heated benches. See NFL memes? That's how you steal a good joke and attribute it. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. I actually know what Bill Belichick's New Year's resolutions are, Perna.
A story about New Year's resolutions, and I was just wondering if you had any you wanted to share with your fans and our readers?
Yeah, no, not right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and kill fewer cats, maybe talk a little bit more audibly, and of course not sleep until I destroy Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
The Bills are back in first place in the AFC East. What did Stephon Diggs say to Patriots fans after scoring? Stephon Diggs! The Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Bengals, and the Texans blow out their opponents this week. I break it all down in the Week 16 edition of Best and Worst of NFL Sunday. Let's go. Sports. Please take a second and subscribe to this YouTube channel, especially if you're a football fan. I do football videos all week, every week. And if you could share this video in, I don't know, WebMD chat forums, share it in all of WebMD's chat forums, please. And if you want to support this channel, you can do it by purchasing my coffee, Benchwarmer Brew at benchwarmerbrew.com. A lot of you got this for Christmas gifts. The reviews have been very positive on Twitter, and it's because I make good fucking coffee. Titans versus 49ers, best. A.J. Brown single-handedly dismantled the 49ers secondary to the tune of 145 receiving yards and a touchdown, and after the game stated he was preying on the Colts' downfall.
Of course, you know, the Colts are a really good team, but you know, I'm praying on their downfall right now.
Worst, as soon as I began to sing Jimmy G's praises, he throws 2 gross picks and a loss. So gross that John Lynch accidentally liked a tweet saying he should have been left in Nashville and then posted this weird apology on Twitter, where I expected him to say he is still a huge believer in Jesus, since it was a Christmas Mass tweet. Browns versus Packers. Best. Aaron Rodgers sets the record for most passing touchdowns as a Green Bay Packer at 443. If he throws 243 more interceptions or steals $1.1 million from charity, he could tie Brett Favre in those illustrious records as well. Worst, Baker Mayfield taking the spirit of Christmas too literally and throwing not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 picks in a loss. Who screwed their contract up more this year, Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson? Baker Mayfield had a chance to win this game and he threw a pick, and I feel like I have seen this a few times this season where Mayfield can't put together a drive when the game is on the line, and for those reasons, I am out on Mayfield. Colts versus Cardinals, best. This touchdown celebration by Anton Wesley, this is what it looks like when your body and your brain try and convince each other they have not had too much to drink. Best, Jonathan Taylor Thomas is improving his MVP odds every week. He still got over 100 yards rushing in this game, and by the final whistle, just 1 of the 4 starting linemen was still playing for the Colts. Hell, the Colts as a team showed true grit, getting the win without Darius Leonard, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Mark Lewinsky, plus Eric Fisher, and Jack Doyle leaving the game with injuries. The Colts were missing so many players. Worst, Arizona has lost 3 in a row, which means we will forget about how beautiful this 57-yard Kyler Murray rush was. Arizona had a bunch of key players missing as well. James Conner, Rodney Hudson, Jordan Phillips, DeAndre Hopkins, of course, but they are somehow better at winning without their best player in Kyler Murray than with him. Making things even more confusing, the Cardinals, in a loss, clinched a playoff spot, courtesy the Bears beating the Seahawks. Los Angeles Chargers versus Texans, best? Justin Jackson scored his first NFL touchdown in 3 years. It's no surprise that he broke that drought against the Texans. Best, Old Rex Burkhead diced up the Chargers for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's just funny in and of itself. It's almost 2022 and the Chargers are getting killed by Rex Burkhead. Best, Justin Herbert throwing this game away with the pick 6. You can take the Chargers out of San Diego. You can switch coaches every 2 to 3 years. You can build them a new stadium. You can force Phillip Rivers to play for the Colts and then retire, but you cannot take the late game, late season collapses out of the Chargers. I could count individually every single one of Phillip Rivers' trillions upon trillions of sperm cells, and by the time I finish counting, the Chargers still won't have been in a Super Bowl. Lions versus Falcons. Best, Cordero Patterson with another tud. That's 11 total TDs this year for Patterson and over 1,000 scrimmage yards, and he should win Comeback Player of the Year. No, he was not hurt last season, but they should give out 2 comeback awards. One for injured players returning, and one for players we all thought were dead or retired. Worst, the Lions jumping off sides on 4th and 1. Best, the Lions running a fake punt and converting on the very next play. That's Jack Fox completing the pass and Amon-Ra. St. Brown has touchdowns in 3 of the last 4 games. Worst, Young-Ho Koo's own teammate poking him in the eye. But I have been waiting my entire life to say, the NFL just showed us what it looks like to poke a young ho. I'm sure Lawrence Taylor would also know. Worst, the Lions defense forced a turnover with about 2 minutes left in the game, only to watch Tim Boyle filling in for Jared Goff to throw a game-ending pick to void their efforts. This is what happens when a team most famous for choking, the Falcons, plays a team that's never even been good enough to choke in the Lions. Los Angeles Rams, who clinched a playoff spot, versus Vikings. Best, unlike that a-hole Jimmy Garoppolo, Sony Michel continued to look great for the Rams after I sang his praises last week. 131 rushing yards for Samsung Michael and a TD, which was desperately needed considering Stafford's touchdown to pick ratio was 1-3. Worst, the dark horse MVP Matthew Stafford saw his MVP campaign come to an end with all those picks. He's got 10 picks on the season, which are 2 more than Jared Goff, but his 36 touchdown passes to Goff's 17 far more important. Stafford still has fewer picks than Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and more touchdown passes than both of those guys. My point, Stafford is too old to be given any slack and not old enough to be given too much credit, Tom Brady. He's pretty damn good, but played for the Lions for way too long and is the most over-criticized quarterback to clinch the playoffs and average 8.1 yards per attempt I've ever seen. Best, my Von Miller is going to the playoffs for the first time since Super Bowl 50. Cam Newton has tanked the entire season just to avoid him. Jags versus Jets. Best, young Zachy Wilson with a monster 50-plus yard touchdown run, which included a cute little sideline dance. Not to take anything away from Wilson, but it really appears that the Jaguars defense gave up on this play. Worst, everyone's favorite Jag, James Robinson, tore his Achilles in this game just by starting to run at the snap. Why couldn't that have happened to Urban Meyer's dick? Oh, right, because he never pulled it away from the grind. Worse, Trevor Lawrence hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in 4 straight games, but he did fumble forward for a touchdown. He fumbled on a huge sack, but did get the Lions in position late for a chance to win. Worst, Braxton Berrios is having an insane month as a special teamer, and nobody is noticing. He had a 103-yard kick return for a touchdown against the Jags. He had a punt return for a TD last week against Miami, and a rushing touchdown. And while he didn't score in weeks 13 and 14, he had 139 kick return yards in both of those games. Best, Zach Wilson finding all 6 feet 8 inches and 300 pounds of Connor McDermott for a big man touchdown. Giants versus Eagles. Worst, the Giants are reportedly slated to bring back head coach Joe Judge and QB Daniel Jones next season. Best, this game was so boring I only saw 2 highlights on Red Zone. The first being this bomb to Devontae Smith, and second, the game-sealing touchdown pass to offensive lineman Lane Johnson who we all hope is still off the juice, because he is certainly getting random drug tested today for sure. Worst, Jake Fromm was so bad he got benched for Mike Glennon, who got benched for Jake Fromm. In his first NFL start, Fromm went 6 of 7 for 25 yards and a pick. This is why the Giants are sticking with Daniel Jones. They know you can do much, much worse. Bills versus Patriots. Bills back in first. Best, Isaiah McKenzie, who I'd like to give my Big Dick Player Award to. Not only was he the Bills' leading receiver with 125 yards, a TD, and 11 catches, he was clutch at the end of the game for Buffalo. He converted a desperate 3rd and 10 attempt for the Bills and followed it with a deep grab after hitting the turf hard enough to knock him out of the game for a play. Somehow they classified that as cramps. Best, the Bills putting together a game-winning drive against the Patriots. Best, the disciplined Patriots making mental mistakes on 4th down. Best, J.C. Jackson, the best corner in the game, dropping a Josh Allen interception in the 4th quarter. Best, and this was the first time a Belichick defense did not force a punt in a game. Worst, Mac Jones actually having to throw the ball against Buffalo. Didn't go great, did it, Mac? Just 150 yards, no TDs, and 2 picks. But he did hand the ball off well, just like last time. Best, the mics picking up Stephon Diggs telling Pats fans to shut the fuck up after the TD. Something we've all wanted to say to their face for the last 20 years. Diggs is now considered to be the front runner to win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award for this feat. And dare I say, Buffalo all the way this time. Ravens versus Bengals. Best, it's the Josh Johnson show. A bench warmer's bench warmer. 304 passing yards, 2 TDs, and just 1 pick. Best, Joe Burrow had 299 passing yards in the first half and would finish with 525. 4th most in NFL history in a single game. Only the greats like Norm Van Brocklin, Warren Moon, and Matt Schaub had more in a single game. Burrow fittingly passed Boomer Esiason, who had 522 in a game. Burrow picked apart the decimated Ravens defense to the tune of 4 touchdown passes. And unlike when Tom Brady has over 500 passing yards, it's not because his ball catchers combined for 499 yards after catch. He hit High T. Higgins with an amazing grab in double coverage, and then finished it off with the short touchdown grab. He hit Higgins again for a tud, and Joe Burrow even went Joe squared and found Joe Mixon for a passing TD. Best, Burrow had nearly 200 more passing yards than Justin Herbert, who had the 2nd most passing yards this week at 336, and he was throwing until the very bitter end, which I love against a John Harbaugh coached team. Bucks versus Panthers, who have officially been eliminated. Best, Keyshawn Vaughn? Is Keyshawn gone? Who? That's right, the Buccaneers' 3rd string running back, Keyshawn Vaughn, who I'm pretty sure is the only Keyshawn to ever play for Tampa Bay, tore off a 48-yard touchdown run in the 1st quarter. Best, Cam Newton completing passes to the other team. What? Well, he's getting very good at it. 5 picks in his last 4 games. That's why Matt Rule thought he should rotate Cam and Sam to start the game. Cam, then Sam. That's the plan, I am. But when Cam can't go ham, Sam's the man. That's Dr. Seuss's lesser-known book titled Green Eggs and All My QBs Suck. Best, this Panthers fan rotating his middle finger into the upright position to convey how we all feel about Tom Brady winning his 18th division title.
Sir, it's the holidays. Put your fingers down, please.
Chicago versus Seattle. Worst, why are Bears players trying to save Matt Nagy's job? Best, the return of Big Dick Nick in his first start of the season, filling in for an injured Justin Fields and an injured Andy Dalton. Big Dick Nick leads a 10-point comeback win in the 4th quarter against his future team. That's right, Foles to Seattle confirmed. Chicago trailed all game, and then after mostly not playing well, Foles threw a touchdown to Jimmy Graham on 3rd and 14. Best, this catch by Dymere Bird to give the Bears the lead on the 2-point play with a minute left in the game. It's not just the catch, but the fact that Bird got his knee down when the Seahawks tried to fly him out of bounds is what's impressive. That bird flew, and now Seahawks fans are as sick as Bears fans. Worst? I think Russell Wilson is the perfect next Broncos QB. He had 0 turnovers, over 100 rushing yards. His defense sacked the opposing quarterback 4 times, and they still lost. That sounds like Wilson will fit in perfectly here in Denver. Steelers versus Chiefs? Worst? The Steelers had everything to lose and performed like they had nothing to play for. Well, except for Ray, my head is up in the clouds, who had the courage to be slightly excited after getting a first down, trailing by 30, which drew a taunting penalty. New rule, if the losing team is down by 3 TDs, they cannot be flagged for taunting. Best, no Travis Kelce, no problem for the Chiefs. Byron Pringle got into the end zone because I bet you just can't have one. And even McCole Hardman got a tutty. So is Travis Kelce actually holding this offense back? Worst, I just wanted to point out that we are probably only going to get to watch Big Ben 2 more times. I'm not sad, but I'm a little sad. And now his career will reflect his personal life as a man who didn't know when to stop. Broncos versus Raiders. Best, Bradley Chubb makes the coolest interception of his life, setting up the Broncos for a 1-yard touchdown courtesy of Javonte Williams. Worst, that would be the Broncos' only touchdown. Jerry Jeudy had a 40-yard gain, but even his best play was probably getting this pass interference call here as his jersey stretched further than a Vegas stripper. Best, Drew Lock didn't turn the ball over, and the Broncos ended up +3 in the turnover column. Worst, somehow it didn't fucking matter. Denver got out-yardaged, out-first downed, and outplayed so bad that they blew an otherwise clean game. This was their 5th loss to the Raiders in 6 tries in the Vic Fangio era, including back-to-back sweeps. The Broncos defense is tied with the Patriots defense for fewest points per game allowed this season, and they still suck. Worst, losing to the Cowboys 56-14. The only person who thinks 56-14 is an acceptable union of numbers is Woody Allen. Now, many thought Dallas was beating a dead horse, telling them the football team is dead already, a la The Simpsons. But this Micah Parsons quote after the game might be the quote of the week. We're not alligators. We don't get paralyzed after we eat. I'm not sure that's accurate, but I'm hoping if Parsons wins a Super Bowl, he says, we're like praying mantis. We eat our opponent after fucking them. Best, the Cowboys' defensive line is getting scary good at scoring touchdowns. If you watch my power rankings every Tuesday, then you already know I hyped up DeMarcus Lawrence, and he went on to have one of the most impressive touchdowns you'll see. His pick is stupid, and during his 40-yard return, he looked like a damn running back. Dallas holds on to the 2 seed in the NFC, and at 11-14 clinched their division. Best, Dak Prescott played near perfect, starting the game 20-21, and he had 4 TDs like I mentioned. 1 to Amari Cooper, 1 to Dalton Schultz, 1 to Malik Turner, none to CeeDee Lamb, and 1 to Zeke the Freak. Worst, Cooper Rush comes in and promptly throws a touchdown pass to Terrence Steele. Rush was 2 of 3 for 70 yards and a touchdown. But Rush and Dak, even when you combine their 400 passing yards, still were 125 yards short of what Joe Burrow did. Worst, Bobby McCain getting flagged for this textbook hit, making this the worst thing to ever happen to a man named McCain. Best, McCain catching the flag that was thrown at him for this foul. Best, watching Jonathan Allen punch his own teammate, Daron Payne, on the sideline. Question for football team fans. Would you rather watch your own teammates punch each other in the face or sit through a football team game while sewage leaks and sprays all over your faces? Because those are your choices as a football team fan. Thanks for watching the best and worst of Week 16. Make sure to come back tomorrow for my Power Rankings episode and click the video on the screen right now if you want to watch more football happenings. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, @BrandonPerna.